All right. So seems like there has been a significant bout of technical issues on the lobby setup front, and I do apologize for that. But I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insanely 13. I'll probably just cut out the first 15 or so minutes there when I upload this to YouTube later. We're looking at, I think we've only lost one GT driver and one GT entrant and one prototype entrant thus far. So if that's the case, then we should be looking at 8 GT entries and 8 prototype entries for today's event. Real quickly as we look through the grid here. Just Unku is your lobby host. PTG Ducky is coming back after having won the second stint in GT. NWR Jesco is going to be running in the number 15 Jaguar prototype. LMP Flow, who won the first GT stint, is going to be trying to bookend this run for the team. I Am Mamba is going to be in the Sylvia. AFZ Maverick is going to be in the Menthols Ferrari. RV and Twitch is going to be back in the Jaguar. Apex Kimmy is back in Apex's struggling prototype entry. Ahmed Galal is going to be back into the Nissan CBLB. X-Con is going to jump back into the, I believe it was the number 96 Porsche. SBR Reverb is going to round out the, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. SBR Reverb is going to be rounding out the run on the number 21 Jag prototype. Monica is going to wrap up the day in the number 90 Porsche entry. AMS Phantom is jumping back into the Jaguar prototype. Hanser 1560, who has won 2 stints already, is going to try and make it 3 for 3. EMC Bravo, who came second in stint 6, is going to try and bring the team home a good result in his Corvette. Hilfiger is going to be running in the BMW as well. And Merc 704 DAS apparently is going to be running also. Don't know yet what car he's jumping into. Give us a bit. So I think we're only down 1 entry. Nope, never mind. He left. So, well, either way, that's that. But with that in mind, I think everyone now has readied up at this stage. Oh. Alright, so we're waiting on everyone to ready up again then. Anyways, so if everyone is here, we'll be looking at 8 Protos and 8 GTs. We are finally in the daytime again. I'm being honest, I'm so cooked in the brain. I can't even remotely think of anything to say right now. I do apologize. My brain is fried. I was fried in stint 6, and I had troubles getting to sleep. Didn't sleep the greatest. Woke up. It was only 19 degrees Fahrenheit. I was like Hulk Hogan. I couldn't even put over cold water. I woke up, stuck my hand out from under the covers, and I was like, "Ah! It's not hot!" Alright, here we go. Loading onto the circuit finally. Huh. Well, that's not great. That's suboptimal. All right, welcome back to Daytona. We're gonna real quickly go down the order here. Pole sitter, RVN Twitch. The paint does not seem to load onto the car, so I apologize for that. Followed behind is AMS Phantom 7279 in number 683 entry. And then Just Unku in that Swordfish number 24. They're dragging themselves back up the order. He's not had great starts before, so he's going to want to turn that around, obviously. Then it's CBL BX Con, who is the 4th highest prototype and 4th overall, and now everyone is lagging out. Well, sorry about that. Although I can say it looks like we're down to only one Porsche prototype in this lobby. Excuse me. Alright, so now you have to wait because we lost cancer in the process of rebooting the lobby. I don't know what went wrong this time. It's a good thing this is the reset lobby, and it is also the last lobby, so we can go as late as necessary and we'll still be fine. I do apologize for the shoddy quality of the broadcast. We have had some really good racing in this lobby before, primarily in Stint 5 and to a slightly lesser extent Stint 6, and you can catch that in the prior streams on this channel. I'll also be uploading all my streams of this race to YouTube as well. The craziest thing was, Coinsey was struggling with staying awake through Stint 7, and he was supposed to broadcast Stint 8 as well. And I briefly had thought yesterday about offering to take over Stint 8 broadcast. I'm glad I did not do that in the end. Still can't see the cars paint until we're on track, but hopefully RV and Twitch actually will have his paint on when he loads into the circuit. It's not the worst thing ever, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things I kind of hope is the case. Still waiting on Ducky to ready up, and then once he does, we should get onto the circuit without too much issue, without too much headache here. Alright, here we go. Well, realistically, it's only the second time they've attempted to load onto the circuit itself. Alright, So starting on pole will be the number 13 Jaguar, driven by RVN Twist. Lining out behind him will be AMS Phantom 7279, the number 683 Jaguar. Then Jess Unku, the number 24 Swordfish Machine. CBL BX Khan has dragged that Porsche up, well, him and his team as a whole has dragged that Porsche up to 4th overall in distance of all the C Lobby prototypes, so he'll be starting in 4th position for this final stint. Behind them is Hanser 1560 and number 69 AVR Jaguar. Then SBR Reverb. This car was up near the front earlier, but overnight has slipped way down the order, is now way back in 6th position of the prototype. 7th will be NWR Desco in the number 157 machine. Then in 8th will be Apex Kimmy 7, rounding out the back of the prototype grid. Then pole for GT is going to be LMP Flows. Easily been the best performance. Honestly, I feel like this entry has been so strong. I would think it should be a B lobby entry, not for the fact that it has had to fight legitimately for these wins on several occasions. Followed up by Hilfiger in the number 99 Black and Rainbow BMW. Then I Am Mamba, who has dragged that Nissan to 3rd overall. Then Ahmed Gall is in the other Nissan, the number 827 LMP Esports Nissan. 5th is going to be EMC Bravo in the 420 Chevrolet. 6th will be Ramonica in that number 90 Porsche machine. Then PTG Ducky, who is 15th, and that Newport's number 83 Ferrari is going to be at the back of the grid. And like I said, we have lost 1 prototype and 1 GT entry from last night and now. All right. So I'm going to try something. Just this once. For sheer sake of spectacle. I'm not going to cover them as they come to the start. We're going to watch the entire field filter through here. Just for the sake of clip gathering. As they come to the green flag. I'll pick up the broadcast properly once they get into the oval section. So right off the bat, we saw one of the prototypes go off, and that was RV and Twitch, who went off there, and now is stuck in a fight trying to get back ahead of just Unku for second. So AMS Phantom moves into the top position. Big lunge there by NWR Jesco, who goes off circuit into the dirt, and now he falls to last in the prototype category. SBR Reverb is now trapped up at the top, well, second through fourth, all running right on top of each other pretty much. Answer, I believe, is the only driver in this lobby who has won a prior stint. He looks ahead to Twitch, he looks ahead to Unku, he looks ahead to Phantom, all on top of each other as they come racing down into turn one. Unku inside. As Phantom misses turn one, Unku is going to pull up alongside. He'll put himself into... No! Phantom comes back. Side by side for a top spot. Oh, Enhancer is deep off into the dirt. Way into the dirt. He's going to merge in at a bad angle at this rate. Kimmy has to swerve to avoid Soda's ex-con. Enhancer all of a sudden slides to 6. Not anticipated, but Unku has now gone from third to second and is about to try and take first from Phantom, but Phantom is not letting him have it very easily. Incredibly tense fighting here at the top. It's not quite the extreme knives out fight we had in Stint 5, but it is really close to it. Phantom slides the rear tires a bit as he comes onto the banked part of the track. Unku pulls up behind. He has a little bit tighter line through here. He's got to run. Does he go inside or outside? He's going to look to the inside. He'll pull alongside, and then he'll back out. He shoots. I don't know if he shot in or Phantom backed out, but either way, that did not work out at all. Now he gets touched from behind by RV and Twitch as Twitch comes around the outside. And that's Reverb, who's right behind both of them. Unku holds an inside line. Twitch goes on the outside. Reverb now falls back behind Unku. It does look like the 21 is struggling to keep as smooth of a line as Unku is. Phantom's opened up a bit of a gap as a fight for a second. 3 cars dive into turn 1. Unku is sliding out of the corner, drops tires in the dirt, and very nearly slams into Reverb in the side. But Reverb now ends up ahead of Twitch. Twitch goes through the grass, and while he was in position to try and dive into the hairpin, he did not have the car control to actually do it. So Reverb now works his way up into third. Phantom has opened up a very, very small gap on Unku at this point in the event, and now Unku's going to try and focus forward. Enhancer is trying to get back by Kimmy 7. After that big slide we saw just a few moments ago. Into the bus stop chicane once more. Answer trying to close in as there's a lot of chaos going on around the top from about second on back. RV and Twitch has gotten back by Reverb, so I should say about third on back. And Kimmy looking competitive for the first time. This is honestly the first time I think that Apex entry has looked competitive, really truly competitive all day today. Reverb goes to the inside, but doesn't send it in that deep against Twitch, so Twitch stabilizes in third as Reverb slips to fourth. Here comes Kimmy with the run. Here comes Hanser as well. And Hanser sliding off again. Not quite, but it came really close to that car going right off circuit once more. Guess Unku runs a bit behind AMS Phantom right now. Twitch is wide farther back, and that lets Reverb get a run back in. It's not really that anyone's been incredibly faster or anything. It's just all these drivers are making a whole lot of small mistakes. But it looks like Phantom's pulled out a good gap for now. Unku holds station in second. Reverb trying to close in on Twitch, and now Unku's made a bit of a mistake, and it's brought Twitch a little closer, not close enough to make a move, but Unku is showing some weakness here. Reverb has fallen off just a bit. Hamster continues to struggle to even catch up to Kimmy. I wonder, has he damaged that car in that big slide off? No damage. But real quickly, let's look at the fuel and tires of everyone in our prototype category right now at the front. Nearly 46%, 47% in the fuel tank for our leader, Phantom, right now. So he is planning on staying on track for a while. For Unku, similar amount of fuel, so he'll also likely be staying on track for a long time. Twitch runs in the third position, even more, 57% in the tank. So our top three are going to be staying on track for a long time before they have to make their first stop. It's not until you get here, Reverb, who only has 40% in the tank, and then Kimmy, who is in 5th, runs with about 40% in the tank. Hanser, who is in 6th, he's the first person who's really under-fueled, so he'll be taking a very early pit stop compared to everyone else here. Then CBL BX Con, 40%, but he's got engine damage, so that he might have to pit earlier just to repair the engine damage. And then Jesco, who was last in the prototypes and has completely lost the plot, nearly 80% in the fuel tank. Meanwhile, in the GT category, to no one's surprise, it is this 828 machine. It won 5 of the first 6 stints. LMP Flo is a proven stint winner. Real quickly, let's look at the fuel and tire range for him as he's trying to pull away from that BMW. 51% right now. Hilfiger was in 2nd, 42% fuel. And then Ahmed Gallo, the Nissan, runs in 3rd, 45%. Nissans have been relatively competitive at the initial start, but they lose a lot of time in pit stops and just hemorrhage away 8 positions. I don't think a Nissan finished in the top 3 positions in any of the first few stints. Then you get to PTG Ducky, 36%. He has a small amount of engine damage, which shouldn't be enough to really impact the car. The Porsche Momonica showing a little bit of performance right now, 58.2% fuel as well. So a lot of these GT drivers are going to be going for a while. BC Bravo, 47%. I Am Mamba, the other Nissan, 45%. And then Maverick at the very back of the GT field, 48%. As we look real quickly to our top 3 in the prototypes once more. All spread out just a little bit. Unku closing in slowly on Phantom. Twitch does not seem to have quite that big straight line speed that he wants to be able to close in on the top 2 right now. But we could have a fight between Phantom and Unku at the head of this field. Phantom got away from a big fight that was going on amongst the top 4, and then Unku followed. And since then, Unku's been gradually closing in. I think Twitch may be slightly, I do mean very slightly. I think Twitch may be slightly faster than our top 2 protos right now. So we could see our top 3 prototype drivers all converging back on top of each other once more. Yeah, Unku's close enough to get a draft potentially off of Phantom this time by. So the fight for a lead in prototypes is alive once again. We're only 15 minutes. Really, it's less than that. It's closer to 11 or 12 minutes, but we're 15 minutes into the stint, basically, and Phantom opened up a gap earlier, but now Unku is back. No one has really been able to just outright pull away in the prototype field. No one is really showing just outright performance and ability here. Even Hanser, who won stints earlier against all of these drivers before, nowhere near the top. He is buried in 6th right now, so this could be a really unique wild card result. Here comes Unku to the outside of Phantom, neck and neck. Who goes deeper into turn 1? Hard into the brakes, Unku slides, and Twitch, my goodness, Twitch closed up on both of them. but slid wide is going to lose a little bit of time. They're still side by side for a top prototype spot as they go through the S. Unku has the inside line going into the first infield hairpin. Phantom's going to try and cross over on corner exit. The Swordfish machine twitches side by side for prototypes as they go into the kink now. Swordfish holds the inside, squeezes Phantom to the outside, but Phantom has the inside coming into the second infield hairpin, and these drivers are about to catch GT traffic. If it wasn't enough that they were fighting each other on merit, they're now about to catch GT traffic. Now they're going to catch a lot of this traffic, not a lot, but a good chunk of this traffic in this oval section, so they'll be able to just pull away in a straight line, but Phantom is going to lose position as Unku keeps him pinched down behind traffic. He used Maverick's Mental's machine as a pit, and Unku now goes back to the top. Phantom slips to third as Twitch moves up into second position. But now Twitch has to deal with GT traffic ahead. Twitch closes in on the Swordfish machine into the corner, and there's Reverb coming around the outside of Phantom. So now here oh my goodness, they're all on top of each other as they blitz by Mamba. They're nearly 3 wide for the back. They are 3 wide! Phantom backs out of it. He wants no part of it. He's going to come into the pits. So Phantom wants no part of this. Reverb now in second, as he's ended up way ahead of... Wait, are we missing someone? Where's Twitch? What happened to Twitch? Oh, he was in an accident. The broadcast got, the broadcast mixed it, and I apologize for that, but he was involved in an accident there. I thought I saw someone bounce off a car, but I didn't see anyone hit the wall or hit anyone else, but yeah, he's out of it. That accident's gonna take him out. I thought Twitch was a little faster than the drivers ahead, but that is no longer the case. He's gonna have to come back from that accident now. So the fight for the lead is on. Unku leads Reverb at the top of the prototype field. I do apologize for missing that incident. But big damage to RV and Twitch as Unku holds station over Reverb. They've just about cleared prototype traffic right now, and all this chaos has actually put Kimmy up into the 3rd position, so this is the strongest that Apex's prototype entries has looked all day long. So yeah, Hanser, Phantom, and Twitch all have stopped. Now, Hanser was on a wildly alternate strategy, so I'm not surprised there, but Phantom pitted earlier than everyone else, I believe, and Twitch had damage, a big accident there, and Reverb easily overtakes Unku in turn 1. Unku looked like he just did not have the line at all. Unku gets right up behind Reverb. He looks to the inside. Can't get alongside. Can't hold it. There's just not enough room. But as the 2 Jaguars fire out the second hairpin and come into the hairpin that will bring them back into Speedway turn 1. This is where it comes down to. Unku slides the rear of that car around just a bit. Reverb holds top spot. Unku, does he have the straight line speed to run Reverb down? Oh, that is an absolute yes. The draft's already working in his favor. Will Unku try and go side by side to the bus stop chicane? It's clear track ahead of them and behind them for now. Unku looks to the inside but won't push the issue too aggressively. Reverb has a nice smoother run through the bus stop, but does hit the dirt coming out of it. Unku is still within drafting range. Unku is going to get a tremendous draft. I think he might be able to pull alongside on the run down to turn 1 once again. Reverb holds the inside. Unku's fine with that, though. He wraps around the outside, has a nose ahead. Who goes deeper into the braking zone? It's going to be Unku. Not a lot, though. He tries to cross over, but is not able to get the traction down enough. Slides the rear tires, goes into the dirt, nearly pulls alongside. He is alongside. He was out of control. He pulls alongside. Neck and neck coming out of the first infield hairpin. And it's a drag race, but Unku has it. Unku goes back in front of Reverb. This duo are making overtakes and passes in places we've not seen a lot of the prototypes been making overtakes on each other today. Unku now back in front of Reverb now. And Unku's the driver who seemed to have the much bigger straight line speed advantage. So I'm really interested to see if Reverb's going to be able to do anything to clap back here as they come into Speedway Turn 1. Unku holds station. Reverb runs about 75 feet behind. Ooh, I can feel the coffee's kicked in now. Reverb just holds station, closes significantly into braking. Unku, very cautious through the bus stop, a little bit sideways, a little bit of a twist. As Hanser and Phantom are having a bit of a fight back there for 6th and 7th position. Reverb has the run on Unku. Not quite nose to tail. Coming down to the start-finish line once again, but Reverb doesn't have that extreme straight line advantage that Unku does, but Unku has to brake so much earlier because it's taking way more speed to turn 1. That's Reverb who slides out wide. Well, it looks like Unku's got the upper hand for now in this fight in the prototype lead. It's taking a long time though. And traffic really had something to do with it, but I think the bigger thing to look at though is the fact that Hanser has already gotten ahead of Phantom. Hanser went off circuit, big off earlier in the event, jumped into the pits early on in an old strategy, but he's already ahead of Phantom, who is fighting with Unku and Reverb, and Unku and Reverb have been bleeding off time against each other. I think right now, Hanser is in position to take over the Stint lead once our top 5 prototype drivers have all made their stops. GT has all spread out quite a bit already. As we watch this fight here for 6, as Phantom tries to close back in on Hanser, but Hanser is not really struggling too much with GT traffic yet. Well, it's going to struggle just a bit here, trying to get around the Porsche. He'll muscle his way through, though. And Phantom is trapped behind. Well, that fight's over. As Hanser's going to catch the next 2 in the straight here. And Unku pits. So now the question is, where's Unku going to end up in relation to Phantom and Hanser? These 2 are trying to cut their way through traffic right now. Reverb stays on track for a little longer. He's got clean air around him. Unku's now down to 5th, but he's already moving down towards turn 1. If Reverb and Unku are still well ahead of Hanser and Phantom, that could have big implications. I'm going to be honest, I don't see any way that Hanser is going to get by Unku. Not immediately. Maybe he's got the pace to outrun him in the few laps afterwards, but Unku has just come out of pit lane already, and Hanser's just now in the apex of turn 1. So yeah, right now it looks like it's Unku versus Reverb at the head of the field. That's the GT leader, LMP Flow, briefly holding up Hanser. But as Hanser clears him, his run to try and go for 3 different stint wins, at least, maybe he's won something overnight, but at least 3 different stint wins, is alive and well. So when does our prototype leader hit the pits? They've got engine damage, and that's not going to help Reverb one bit. They'll likely be paying at the end of this lap, and I have to be honest, if he's got engine damage, I think Unku's going to pull off ahead with this lead without issue. If anything, Reverb might be under threat from Unku catching him for 2nd place. This is Jesko, who is 4th, has yet to make a stop. Kimi, he'll likely be stopping this lap as well. So CBAL X-Con, who is in 3rd, he's got engine damage. He'll either be paying this lap or next lap. So we're about to see the crossover. All right, Hilfiger, Ducky, and Amengalal. So 2nd through 4th, GT all pit along with 6th place Momonica. So GT not a lot of spread out in strategy right now. watch Unku. And the reason we do is because Reverb and Kimmy, first and second, are about to come into the pits. And with that engine damage that Reverb has, I wonder, is Unku going to take the lead back? I imagine he will. I could be wrong, but I imagine that Unku is going to steal the top position back from Unku. Third place is CBL BX Khan. Looks like Khan is going to stay on the lead, and he will get the Porsche to lead a lap here. Now, NWR Desco, who is fourth, comes into the pits as well. All right, Reverb's already on the run down to turn 1. Unku fires out of turn 4 at full speed. Coming up to the start-finish line. Reverb's already wrapped around turn 1. Unku just now is in turn 1. Reverb might have the lead. The overcut might be what gets Reverb into the front. We'll see. They're going to be right on top of each other. On the run down to turn 1. Unku and Reverb dead even side by side going into the hairpin. And despite the engine damage, Reverb was dead even with Unku. But Unku had the inside line, and he gets the lead back, but he is not pulled away from Reverb. Also of note, Kimmy has actually ended up well ahead of Hanser. So Kimmy is on position for what could be a top 3 result, which would be an incredible turnaround from how much that Apex car was struggling earlier in the day. BX Khan will be paying this lap, and we're almost guaranteed to see him drop to at least 3rd, if not somewhere around 4th or 5th. It looks like Unku's already opening up the gap on Reverb, though. So this fight for the top spot in prototypes might have looked closer than it actually was. Although Reverb does close a bit in the bus stop chicane. But he needs the draft of the Jag ahead. He may have it. I don't think he has it. No, he's got it. He's got draft. He is closing. He's not going to be alongside in turn 1, but if he can get Unku to make a mistake under braking, Reverb could go back to the top. Well, that's not quite what happened, but Reverb closed up massively in braking in turn 1. Reverb seems to have a car that is much better built for the infield section. As both Kimmy and Hanser go by Unku and Reverb. I think I said that wrong, but whatever. Unku holds station. The Reverb is tucked up behind. If Reverb gets a good run out of this hairpin and into the speedway section, the draft could have big implications and might let him get alongside or attempt to get alongside going into the bus stop. Swordfish 24 machine has put together some strong runs in the hands of Darkser. But now it's up to Unku, who was struggling in the earlier stints. But as the races progress, ever since that Unku's been in, he's gotten better and better. Reverb sneaks up behind. Coming up on some GT traffic, Mamba won't be an issue for them. But Momonica just ahead might be. Oh, Reverb! Oh my goodness, Reverb completely misses the corner. And has engine damage again. Well, that probably settles the fight for the lead unless Unku ends up in a nasty scenario here. Meanwhile in GT, once again, it is Flo in the 828 Chevrolet. He's got plenty of time. He can still be on track here. So now it just kind of comes down to how good is Unku at navigating traffic. Reverb's just made a few too many mistakes. So we're still waiting to see our top 3 drivers in GT go ahead and make their first round of stops. Hilfiger was relatively close to Flo when he pitted. Good news also for Flo is that for right now, there's no one around him. It's clean track ahead, clean track behind. There will be prototypes catching him eventually, but it's going to take a while. And if Flo elects to pit in the next few laps, then he may not deal with the prototypes catching him for a lot longer. Bit of a fight for last in the prototype category right now, as Flo continues to hold station at the head of the GT field. Well, it seems like we're just in a holding pattern right now. I'll go ahead and knock out an ad break while we wait to see our DT leaders go ahead and make their first stop of the day. Remember, everyone's required to make a minimum of 4 stops in the run. So welcome back to Daytona as we watch CBL XCon, who runs in 6th position right now. The only Porsche prototype left in the field in the C lobby. Apparently, the A lobby is dominated by Porsches, but the Porsche is apparently hard to master. Enhancer, no! Enhancer, who won 2 stints earlier, has suddenly lagged out. And this might be fantastic news, though, for Kimi, because Hanser was the closest threat that Kimi had to losing a podium run here. This also would move Phantom up into 4th and BX Khan into 5th. But this is incredibly dramatic scenes here in the prototype category. Meanwhile, our top 3 in GT still have yet to make their first up. As I say that, here comes Flo into the pits now. So Flo, who has basically led from the drop of the green flag, finally making his first stop after running for about 35 minutes, and he's going to be going by Bravo. One of Maverick and one of Hilfiger. Hilfiger was the car closest to Flo before he made his stop. So is Hilfiger going to be in a position to close in at all? I don't think so. Flo is already moving down that pit lane straight. And yes, Maverick is coming into the pits. So as we look at Hilfiger has just now gotten out of turn 4, while Flo is already in turn 1. I say Speedway turn 4, I usually mean Speedway turn 4. At the line, Hilfiger is going to move up into second, but he's not going to be anywhere close to Flo, I feel. Especially as Flo is already out of the pits, runs down to the hairpin. What in the devil is that? That is Jesco. What has happened to Jesco? That is way off circuit, very nearly hit the inside wall. No damage to the car. He's very heavily fueled, but no damage to the car after that big slide off that he just had there. And he is nowhere near 6th place in prototypes right now. Gets alongside Flo. Won't be held up too much, but Hilfiger does get ahead of Bravo by a significant gap. And Ahmed's not too far behind Bravo, so that could be a fight for 3rd. But yeah, it looks like Flo's going to walk off with another easy win in that 828 Chevrolet GT machine. There's still a stalking battle for the lead in prototypes. Reverb holds top position. Unku holds top position. Reverb following at a distance, 1 sit back. And Kimi has just lost the position to Phantom. And that was in the hairpin. It looked like Kimi may have gone offline there. So now Kimi's chance at podium seems to have slipped away as Phantom is rebounding after being involved in that accident that sadly we didn't catch on cameras. And Bravo's already making his 2nd stop, so Bravo is double stopping basically 1 lap between his 1st and 2nd stops here. But Bravo really must like how his car feels after he runs a long time on the fuel and tires. Phantom's still a long way out from our top 2, though. Kimi's not too far back from Phantom. Kimi may have a chance at getting Phantom back, but we'll have to see how it turns out. But most of the battles on track seem to have resolved themselves at this stage of the event. And your leader in prototypes is just Unku in the Swordfish machine. Only has about 8% left, so he'll probably pit next lap. Maybe this lap, but probably will be next lap. Reverb ran with a lot more fuel, but again, that engine damage is not going to help him. I wonder if he's actually repaired the engine damage, but Forza hasn't updated and showed that it has gotten repaired. In that potential fight for 3rd between Phantom and Kimi, Phantom still has 10% left, a little bit of engine damage. And Kimi, who runs right behind, has 23% left. So Kimi could honestly stay out a little longer than Phantom if he feels that going long could get him the result. But again, big important thing, you're required to make 4 stops in this sim. In fact, you're required to make all 4 of those stops before that race timer hits 30 minutes. So right now everyone has 50 minutes to make 3 more stops, and we see Unku pitting out of the top position. So Reverb will stay out on track a little longer, try to bang out some clean laps. Good news for Unku is this means that he won't have to deal with GT traffic, well, very much GT traffic for a while. Should make things a little easier for him. While Reverb will immediately have to go and start dealing with GT category traffic. Who is that? Is that Maverick just ahead in the Ferrari? Yes, it is. Maverick runs wide, gives the inside line to Reverb, so Reverb doesn't have to fight too hard. Unku actually slips all the way back to 6th, so that really gives you an idea that the top 5 are honestly all relatively close to each other. but not close enough to make moves on each other, but they are all relatively close to each other, that if someone has an incident and has to make another pit stop, they absolutely will end up in a position where they'll lose a huge chunk of time. Cancer legitimately looked like he could have been one of the fastest people here based off his performance earlier, but it's just not been there today. And while he was fighting with Kimi and Phantom earlier, he lagged out. Oh, Kimi clears Bravo without any issue there. Still looking ahead at Phantom. Reverb stays out for another circuit. Phantom's into the pits. So Kimi is going to go long compared to Phantom. So we have a potential fight for a lead and a potential fight for third now. Also was briefly cycle the X-Pawn into the podium positions. How long does Reverb stay out? He's trapped behind the Nissan GT car. That's not going to help. Again, the big thing that I think is going to help Unku is that Unku is dealing with comparatively minimal GT traffic right now. In fact, now that he's cleared that BMW, he does not have to worry about GT traffic for a while Reverb has had to fight his way through the entire GT category traffic. I think it's going to have massive implications in Unku's favor. Dark Sir, I see you in the Twitch chat. I really want to ask real quickly, did you win Stint 7? Because I tuned in briefly in Stint 7 and it looked like you were absolutely dominating. Did you pull that off and win Stint 7 there? Anyways, Unku continues to try and bang out some flyer laps to close in on Reverb. Reverb stays out again and is about to catch, I believe that will be Hilfiger and Flo on the circuit. Still waiting on when Kimi is going to pit, as he is in that fight with Phantom for third overall right now. Also, this fight has developed all of a sudden for 10th and 11th. The Porsche number 90 and the number 31 Nissan have found each other on circuit as they fight for what is currently fourth in GT. RV and Twitch pitting in the top 5 positions now. Again, Twitch was involved in that big incident in the turn 4 section. Sadly, our cameras didn't catch it. Looks like Kimi clears this GT traffic without any real issue. And there we are, Reverb now in the pits. This is what it comes down to. We watched Unku flying down into the bus stop chicane. Reverb still on pit lane. Unku has a little bit of GT traffic ahead, but will catch them in the straight, so it won't hold him up too much. Kimi will stay out a little longer. Reverb is already on the run down to turn 1. Unku flies around the outside, very nearly touches the outside wall, fires out of turn 4. Our prototype leader hasn't yet gotten to turn 1. I think this might go in Unku's favor. Oh, and Unku blitzes out of turn 1, loses a huge chunk of time and momentum. That might be all that Reverb needs. Reverb now has the top spot. Unku fires out of turn 1, rushes down into the hairpin, but Reverb is now ahead of Unku after Unku has that giant self-inflicted slide out of turn 1. So Reverb now in position to be the overall Stint leader, despite struggling to cut through traffic. And Unku's not super close to him. I do think Unku is a little bit faster than Reverb, And if he keeps his head down, he can close back in. This fight for prototypes has kind of gone back and forth, all stint long. Still waiting on Kimi and BX Khan to make their second stops of the day, as they are currently the drivers at the head of the field. Kimi again is in the fight with Phantom for what should be third overall. As our prototype leaders come out of the bus stop chicane, there's a little bit of traffic ahead. I think Reverb should be able to clear at least one, if not both of them, by the time they get to turn 1. He's going to want to, obviously. Does not want to have to go side by side into a high-speed braking zone with GT cars and have to deal with them taking lines away from him. He's by 1. He's by Mamba. He's through. Mind you, those two are legitimately fighting with each other for position, and Unku is going to have to deal with them on the run into the hairpin. He'll clear Momonica without too much issue, but the Nissan is going to block his ideal line through the first infield hairpin. Now Unku will have no problem accelerating out and blitzing away, but still Unku held up just a little bit more by traffic compared to Reverb this time. Those two are the drivers that we believe will inherit the lead after Kimi and BX Khan make their second stops. These are the two that we believe are fighting for this overall race win. Or stint win, I should say. Still waiting on our top 4 in GT to make their stops as well. EMC Bravo is on a alternate strategy where he double stopped. Stint stop 1 and 2 for him came with only 1 lap apart from each other, so he really likes how that car feels on worn tires on a heavy fuel load that goes light gradually. And Kimi is in the pits now. So we take a look at Phantom, who's already in Speedway Turn 3. Will Phantom be able to overtake Kimi on track again? CBL BX Khan stays out a little bit longer now. Looks like it's going to come down to traffic management and just minimizing restakes for Reverb versus Unku. But it does look like Unku is gradually closing back in on Reverb. Mamba and Monica, your second and third place GT drivers, have gone ahead and jumped into the pit lane. And out of pits is Kimi. You can see him just up the road there. Phantom is way behind. Phantom has lost it to Kimi. So, pitting early has not worked out. If anything, pitting late seems to be the big winning move in this fight. For the Reverb and Unku fight, seems to be generally similar. So the overcut now seems to be the more powerful thing. Seems like in the night or the late afternoon, undercuts were more powerful, but in the daytime, overcuts are more powerful. Still, Reverb may have to deal with some GT traffic coming into the bus stop. It's not going to be ideal for him in the slightest. And that is your GT category leader, mind you, LMP Flow. He'll clear him without too much issue, but still, he'll be held up more than Unku will have been. And now BX Khan brings his machine into the pit lane. So all of our prototype drivers have now made their bare minimum 2 stops. As Unku closes in on Reverb once again. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that Unku is way, way faster than Reverb here on circuit. About 40 minutes to go here in the final stint for TORA's 24 Hours of Daytona C Lobby. Kimi in third, Reverb in first, flipping their positions with Phantom and Unku respectively before the second round of stops. But Unku is barreling down on Reverb with incredible speed. I have no doubt in my mind that Reverb is slower than Unku at this stage of the event, if not over the event as a whole. It's clean track ahead for the duo. They're not going to have to deal with GT traffic for a long time. So it's going to be mano y mano here for lead and prototypes. Oh, Unku did not have a great run through the bus stop, but neither did Reverb. Neither of them had a good run through the bus stop this time. Unku has a slightly higher top speed, so he's going to catch the draft off of Reverb's machine, trying to close it in. Out of turn 4 of the speedway. Nose to tail as they come across the line. Is Unku diving in deep into 1. He looks around the outside. Who goes deeper? Boy, Unku goes deep, way deep, and he slides way off circuit. It's the second time in about 5 laps we've seen him do that. Reverb continues to hold station over Unku for now, but only barely, and it's more off of Unku's mistakes and off of Reverb's abilities, it would appear. Duo is still very clear of GT traffic for now. Big slide by Unku out of the bus stop. This time was much, much worse for him through there. We're going to spin the lap on board with Unku so you can see what it takes for him to try and close in on Reverb here in the middle stages of this stint. It's now going to be clean track ahead for the duo for a long time. Opens the gap as big as 189 feet. So Reverb might have a slight top-end advantage at this stage of the event, it seems, somehow. Unku really aggressive, kind of cut and slide, entering and exiting the bus stop chicane. Now he's closed in on Unku, but Unku is gradually trying to pull away here in the straight. Is there damage on this machine's engine? No damage. But it does look like Unku's gonna have to pit in the next 2 to 3 laps. And that is Jesco, last of the prototype. So that prototype will not give this duo any significant issues with traffic by the looks of it. And Unku is there now on Reverb. So our top two on top of each other once again as this prototype fight has taken a lot of twists and turns. The current twist, Unku is faster but behind Reverb, and it seems to take a while to make a pass stick in these prototypes unless the driver ahead makes a big mistake. Roughly 40 minutes left in the session. Just kind of silently watching on as this fight continues. Again, both these drivers are going to have to pit 2 more times. Reverb with 8% left in the tank. Unku with 5. So Reverb could stay out 1 lap longer than Unku if he so chooses. Try to do the overcut. Overcut worked for him on the last set of stops. It's what put him ahead of Unku. LMP Flo at the head of the GT field still has yet to even make his second stop of the day. Also, we're still waiting on Kimmy, who has gone off there. That is 7th place, Jesco, who has gone way off circuit here. Again. Oh, and the car is destroyed. Whatever's happened to Jesco, it is terminal. The car is absolutely destroyed. He's got engine at least, but other than that, the downforce is damaged, the brakes are damaged, springs are damaged. We missed what it was, but it has been a horrible, horrible day for Jesco. All right, Unku's pitted before Reverb this time. Kimmy is in the fight with Phantom for 3rd. Is Kimmy going to make a stop? No, Kimmy stays out a little longer. One thing I imagine is going to slightly annoy Unku is that is the GT leader, Flo, just ahead. So he's going to immediately come out of the pits and immediately have to deal with GT traffic just about right away in basically the first turn when they're both on throttle. I think Flo's going to outrun him to turn 1 to the infield hairpin, and that might cause him a bit of a headache. All right, Unku accelerates, and who is that? That was Twitch who just got by. Now, Twitch has yet to make his 3rd stop, but now Unku has to deal with another prototype car. So he's not going to be pounding out nice, clean laps here. He's going to have to deal with prototype traffic. I do think Unku is faster than Reverb, but Reverb has gotten so much luckier when it comes to traffic management thus far. He's caught a lot of his traffic in areas on the track where he has an easy line through. Now Unku is going to have to deal with RV and Twitch. This might not be the worst thing ever. If Unku is able to parlay this and to gain great toes into straights, it could work out in his favor. Reverb in the pits. So Unku versus Reverb. A 1 lap difference in pit stops between the two of them for now. So we'll see Kimi now inherit the lead as he'll stay out a little longer than our leaders. This could be huge for Unku. I think this might swing in his favor here. Our leader has not yet gotten to the apex of 1, while Unku is just crossed the start-finish line now. Again, for these prototypes, you carry so much speed out of turn 1, it could have a big impact. The other thing as well is how is RV and Twitch going to play into this? That's the prototype coming out of the pits just ahead of this duo. Where is he going to be? Twitch did not get by Reverb. Reverb holds station. So now there's traffic between Unku and Reverb. And it is not GT traffic. It is prototype traffic. And Reverb's actually opened the gap up a bit between himself and Unku. So the overcut continues to be the stronger way to go here when it comes to pit stops. And with traffic between, that's not going to help Unku out very much. Now, what he would love to see is for Twitch to go up there and catch Reverb and start fighting with Reverb, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Oh, that might happen. Twitch is closing on Reverb. Again, Twitch is still yet to make his 3rd stop, but he might be giving our prototype leaders a bit of an issue here. Might be causing Reverb more problem than Unku. Looking at the outside, is he going to pit? Because if he's not pitting this lap, he can go for a few more laps. This could really end up having some significant implications for the race. So the car that I thought was really going to cause Unku issues might be causing Reverb more problems. Into turn 1. Reverb slides, Twitch slides. Unku does not slide nearly as much. No attempt to make a move by Twitch, but still, Reverb has to deal with that pressure right behind. Twitch will probably be painting about 2 to 3 laps here. Probably just trying to use the draft off of Reverb to give him extra speed, extra distance in the draft. Reminder, Twitch was in that instant earlier that sadly we couldn't catch on our cameras. Does Twitch make a move into the bus stop? No, he stays content behind. So Twitch not really going aggressively on Reverb here. Big thing though is that Unku is now closing on both of them. Or was closing on both of them. Doesn't look like Unku had a great run out of the bus stop this time by. Oh, Twitch slide. Whoa. Boy, completely is off circuit there. Nearly hits Unku on the merge back on. Well, that resolves that fight. Unless Twitch catches Unku and starts giving him hell, I think that pretty much sells that. And Unku now, once again, trying to close in on Reverb. Kimi continues to lead in the prototype category, but he is a pit stop down on 2nd and 3rd. So we know that he will be paying eventually, and the real question is going to be, once Kimi pits, where is he going to end up in relation to Phantom? Phantom's the guy he's been fighting with for 3rd, and Phantom's chose to make his 3rd stop very early on. Which has a big run on Unku now. Coming up to the bus stop. I don't think he's going to make a move. But now it's Unku who has to deal with the stress of having a prototype right on his tail going into these heavier braking zones. A little bit of GT traffic ahead. And it looks like Reverb is going to get by at least one of them, if not both of them. No, he's only going to get by one of them by the time he gets to the braking zone. The traffic's going to kind of natively affect the rain on everyone here evenly. Not good for Reverb, caught on the outside, held for a long time. Unku blitzes by Maverick. This might be it. This might be the fight for the win, folks. Unku is there. Gap's now the closest it's been for a while. Traffic has gone in Reverb's favor so many times for so long, but all of a sudden it swings back in Unku's favor. And Unku, who has been faster for the majority of the race, now right behind Reverb once more. And Twitch has fallen off just a little bit. Unku's got Reverb in the draft. This fight is legit. Into the bus stop chicane once again. Twitch really closed on Unku, and Unku did not get a great run on Reverb through the bus stop that time. Kimmy paying out of the lead, but we'll look to see where he ends up in relation to Phantom here. Oh, and Kim and did I see that right? No, never mind. Ignore me. That was Kimmy who made his. That was Twitch who made his third stop as well. Now it's just these two on top of each other once more. Phantom is not anywhere close to Kimmy right now. That early stop did not work out in Phantom's favor at all. In fact, Phantom might even end up losing fourth to Twitch as well. But the fight for the prototype lead is on once more. Reverb holds station. Unku close enough to maybe get a draft in the speedway section. If he does Unku try and push the issue in the bus stop and make it side by side into one of the most difficult braking zones out here, or does he instead try to go for turn one? We've seen Unku get great runs in turn one before, but often he throws it away by sliding offline. Also, both of these prototype cars are going to be dealing with GT traffic on the exit of the bus stop here. But it looks like it won't matter that much. Monica pits out of second in GT. Still have yet to see Slow make his third stop. All of our prototype drivers have made the first three of their four required stops. Jesco has completed all four of his stops, but he's had some accidents. It's just been an outrageously nasty day today for Jesco. Still not close enough. In fact, I think Unku may have bled off a little bit of speed right now. I was saying earlier that Unku seemed faster, but now they seem relatively even. And if it just comes down to traffic management, the pendulum could swing in either direction. They're both a long ways away from touching traffic right now. If it comes down to mistakes made, though, neither of these drivers have been perfect. Both of them have made plenty of mistakes, and I think Reverb just made a huge mistake there coming out of the bus stop. gosh, Reverb had a big slide, and now Unku's there. It's alive, the fight's there. Reverb has position, Unku wants it. Reverb defends the inside, Unku looks to the outside, is gonna try the crossover on corner exit. Not able to do it, not able to put the power down in time. So the slide by Reverb in turn 1, all of a sudden, they're nose to tail at the top of the prototype category. Out of the second infield hairpin, run down into the hairpin that will lead you onto Speedway turn 1. Unku slides the rear of the car a bit, loses a bit of time, but he's got a big draft on Reverb. Is he going to try and drag it side by side into the bus stop, put Reverb under some intense pressure, or is he just going to hold back and wait until the run down to turn 1? Closing, 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 but he is not close enough to go to the inside. Neither of them had a great run through the bus stop, but I think Reverb pulls a small gap on Unku. There's one GT car just now going into turn 1. They'll probably catch them in the bus stop, I imagine, of this upcoming lap. Oh, Unku way wide. Well, Reverb slides off one lap, then Unku slides wide another lap. Unku's still sliding. Took him forever to arrest that. So that opens the gap just a bit in Reverb's favor. And we've seen that happen so many times. Unku gets right behind Reverb, but he can't really maintain the pressure through turn 1. If anything, Unku just pushes the car too far and gives up so much time to Reverb. Now he starts trying to close the gap back down. That was the leader that this duo has caught in GT, LMP Flow. No, neither of our top two make any big mistakes in the bus stop that time. But you can you can audibly hear how much Unku is sliding that car around. And now I have to ask, when are our top two going to make their final stop? 21.6% left in the tank for Unku, so he can stay out on track for a while. What of Reverb? 25.9, so both of them could stay out on track for a while, both trying to force the other to pit early, as that overcut seems to be the big winning move right now. AMS Phantom Pain out 6th. But he is so far ahead of Jesco, I don't think he has to worry about losing 6th position. We're going to ride on board with Unku once again for another lap as he tries to run down Reverb here at Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona as I continue to be the worst person at choosing when to make breaks. Literally just as I went to break, Reverb missed the shift and Unku caught him in the draft, closed right in, almost to his rear bumper. Both cars slid wide in the bus stop, then they caught traffic. But as they did, Phantom was coming out of the pits ahead of them. On cold tires, Phantom hit GT traffic right in front of our leaders coming out of the first hairpin and spun. Now, it didn't cause any big issues. Neither of our leaders got collected, but it was definitely a heart-in-the-throat moment for both of them. But in the end, Reverb got through traffic smoother than Unku did. As they continue to navigate through traffic, Unku continues to struggle more, trying to navigate the GTs than Reverb is. And Unku, who early on looked like he was the best and fastest driver here, now seems to be seeing this event slip away from him just a bit. A little less than 11 minutes left to knock out your final stop. A little less than 20 minutes, a little bit more than 20 minutes left in this stint as a whole. And this stint victory could easily slide in either driver's direction, Reverb or Unku. Third place, Kimmy is about a third of a lap, somewhere between, about probably closer to a quarter of a lap behind the duo. So unless both of these top two have a big accident, I think Kimmy is out of contention for the race, or for the stint victory, but still, bringing that Apex prototype home to a podium would be a great result for him, considering how much that thing struggled in the earlier stints. Oh, traffic, and it's swelling in Unku's favor. And all of a sudden, they're on top of each other again. Reverb is sliding. Someone has just gone off something big there. And Unku around the outside. Can't make it stick. Unku to the inside now. Reverb shuts the door. It's alive. Unku has a run. He's coming to the outside. He knows that trying to make this move in turn one doesn't work. He wants to make it going to the bus stop now. Reverb inside, Unku outside. Who's going to carry more momentum in? Reverb is not there. Unku's completed the pass before you get to the bus stop this time. Reverb fires back on the entry. Unku fires out on the exit. And Unku's got the position back. Doesn't have a lot of fuel left. He'll be pitting sooner rather than later. What about Reverb? A little bit more fuel left. Is there damage on this thing's engine? No. No engine damage, so whatever happened, Unku was just so much faster than Reverb in a straight line. Jesco has made his 5th stop now. It's been absolutely atrocious day for Jesco. I wonder if he was the driver who had that big incident ahead of this duo the second time, that big smoke cloud. But now Reverb tucks up behind Unku. So now the story flips, and Unku is the driver on top in this fight. So it was not a move into turn one, but it was the run up to the bus stop that decided it this time. Reverb could stay out one lap longer than Unku if he so chooses. And that overcut has been absolutely fantastic for Reverb on the last 2 stops. Unku holds station at the head of the field. Reverb does not have that straight line speed that Unku does, though. Although Reverb does close a lot more in the bus stop chicane that I think Unku would want him to. Oh, not a great exit by Unku, and that lets Reverb get almost right under the rear wing. But again, straight line speed advantage in Unku's favor. He immediately starts opening the gap once more. Reverb's close enough to have the draft. He can negate some of that straight line speed advantage, and Unku's pitting, and Reverb stays out. So yes, Reverb is going to go for the overcut once more. With a little less than 7.5 minutes to get your final stops in, Unku is going to get his final stop in nice and early compared to Reverb. That strategy has not worked out well for him the last few times. Will it work out well for him this time? The other thing as well is GT traffic may have something to do with this fight. Kimmy in second is going to pit as well. But we see at least one GT car who's going to be ahead. That's going to be your 9th place driver, Hilfiger. And I think we're going to have another one in the form of Mamba, who's going to be ahead of Unku as well, as Unku comes out of the pit lane. So GT traffic going to be a big issue here for Unku. Oh my good, and it's not just GT traffic, it's prototype traffic. That is Jesko, who ends up just ahead of Unku as well. So Unku now has to deal with a host of cars ahead. Traffic suddenly swings in Reverb's favor once more. The longer Reverb stays out on the track, the less and less likely he'll have to deal with traffic after he makes his stop. So is traffic going to be the deciding thing that swings this in Reverb's favor? Unku's been faster throughout most of the day, but Reverb, when he misses on traffic, he misses bad, but most of his impacts with traffic has been minimal issue, as Unku trapped behind Jesko. All right, Reverb is in the pits now, so once again, will it be a one-lap overcut for Reverb? It's paid off well for him in the last 2 stops. Will it work out for him once more here? Unku on the outside, Jesko on the inside. They're neck and neck as they come to the bus stop chicane. Unku gets a little bit of touch from behind. He will finish the overtake, but is held up by Mamba. Mamba sliding. Mamba keeps Unku blocked in, and Unku has to shoot high. There's Jesko trying to follow Unku. All right, Unku's finally cleared both of them, but it was not easy, not a clean out lap for Unku, while Reverb is still clean. There's no one around him on track, and I think once Reverb comes out of the pits, there will be no GT traffic. Unku fires it off now into turn 1, and Unku still has to get around Hilfiger in that GT BMW. I think he'll be able to do it by the time they get into the first bus stop. Yes, he'll blitz by Hilfiger going into the first infield hairpin, but the thing is, Reverb has opened up a massive gap on Hilfiger. Reverb has opened a massive gap on Unku with a little less than 15 minutes left in the session. And to add on to it all, traffic is not going to be a factor for quite some time. So the gap has now swung wildly in Reverb's favor. But honestly, this is not over. We have seen this gap, well, it's not been this big for a while, but we have seen this gap fluctuate back and forth. They have traded the top position multiple times over. Also of note, CBL BX Con is currently reigning 3rd, but he is the last prototype who has yet to make his final required stop. We are expecting that Kimi is going to be able to walk off with a 4th place position, unless he ends up in an instant here, as he is a long way ahead of RV and Twitch. Hilfiger making a stop now. LMP Flow and Mamba both have yet to make stops, and their final stops. And here's the thing I think that will make Unku happy, because he has been really snake bit when it comes to traffic. LMP Flow, who is the next car our prototype leaders are going to catch, he is going to have to pit in the next 3 minutes. Will likely pit coming to the line this time by. Same thing with Mamba, who's a little bit farther back, I imagine. So they're likely going to be paying this time, and I think that will cycle Flow behind our prototype leaders. So this clean track that Reverb and Unku has is going to continue to stay clean for quite some time, I imagine. A little less than 13 minutes left. And we'll be here, and we'll bring the action to you to the end of this stint. We've had some very interesting fights. We've seen prototypes finish nose to tail, GTs finish side by side. The end of the 6th stint in the GT category here. And there we are. Flow is now coming in the pits, as the focus is on Reverb and Unku. Reverb leads, Unku is in 2nd. As I was saying, the finish to the GTs in stint 6, both of them were in a dead drag race to the start-finish line, and they both made contact and started spinning as they jumped onto the brakes, so they both slid to a stop dead sideways on the track in that one. So we have had quite an interesting set of finishes to these prototype and GTs stints here. I will say, I've had a lot of fun. I am so much happier with this game. I know a lot of people did trash on this game, but honestly, if you're not liking how much better the race is in this game, just due to the physics compared to the last game, I don't know who you are, because the racing in this game is so much better. You can actually get out there and really, truly fight with other people in this game compared to the last time. You can push the tires a little more aggressively. There's a lot more draftability. I love how this game races. So one thing that might work out in Unku's favor, it would be a small thing, but Unku is at 45% fuel. Reverb is at 38. So Reverb's underfueled compared to Unku. So Reverb, I'm not saying it will happen, but Reverb may have to watch his fuel numbers to the end of this stint. And the gap between first and second is not enough that Reverb can afford to lift and coast very much. So fuel saving not really in the cards for Reverb. There may be a possibility that our prototype leader might not have the fuel to the end. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Right now, I think the bigger thing is going to be Unku needs to keep the pressure up if Reverb runs out of fuel. Also, our prototypes will be catching GT traffic here very shortly once again. Riding on board with Unku as Reverb. You can see GT traffic ahead. That is, who is that? Is that Maverick? No, that is Ducky. And it looks like our prototype leader is going to catch Ducky in a straight line. Out the back of Ducky's machine. Oh, Reverb is not closing as fast as I think he would like to. But Ducky is going to be an issue for prototype leader going through the bus stop. No, he is. Oh my god, that was smooth, boss. That was real smooth. I expect nothing less. And Unku's going to blitz by without any issue whatsoever. A little bit of contact. I doubt Ducky's going to be happy with how that turned out. A little bit of a potential fight for the 4th position in GT as the two Nissans, Ahmed Galal and Mamba, run relatively close to each other at the moment. But every other battle that's not the lead in prototypes has pretty much been long decided. I do not like how the rail camera looks like when moving. 8.5 minutes to go. So that's about 3 laps in the majority of the 4th lap for our leaders, I imagine. And our leader catches prototype traffic in a very bad way in the bus stop once again. Oh, and contact! And now all of a sudden it's back. A little bit of contact between our leader and prototype with some GT traffic, and Reverb is back. The fight's alive. What can Unku do to Reverb? He's in the draft of your lead prototype. They both have about 3 full laps left. Might be 4, but I think it'll be closer to 3 in the majority of a 4th lap. And they're on top of each other and have GT traffic to contend with. The next 2 GT cars they'll be catching will be a pair of Nissans that are legitimately fighting with each other for position. And I don't think Reverb's going to catch them in a good place. He's going to catch them running into the 2nd infield hairpin. Caught behind. Can't make a move. Unku looks high, looks low. Reverb gets by one, but can't get by the other. Unku is denied the ideal line going through the hairpin that brings you onto the speedway section. but Reverb was not helped by that much either. Unku is still there. Top two in prototypes, right on top of each other, likely to the end. Kimi is about a quarter, if not a third of a lap back. Bad run to the bus stop for Reverb. Unku has a big run. They're both going to catch some GT traffic, but they'll be past them before they get into turn one. Unku looks high. He's going to make it. They'll briefly be 3 wide with traffic. Unku has the jag ahead by the nose. Who goes deeper into turn one? And it's going to be Unku who goes too deep and slides out. But Reverb slides on exit. So there's still basically nose to tail. Unku goes high as Reverb defends the inside. Can the Swordfish prototype crossover on corner exit? Not quite. Coming up on more GT traffic again. Unku, is he going to try the crossover on the exit of the second infield hairpin? Wasn't able to work. All right, does he try the run down to the bus stop chicane this time? It worked before. It gave Unku a big advantage. He was able to finish the overtake before they got into the bus stop. Will he be able to make it stick now? Doesn't look like it. They're not quite going to be side by side into the bus stop. But they're nose to tail coming out of it. Unku's going to have another great run. Can he pull alongside in turn one this time? And if he does, will he be able to hold it alongside? 5 minutes left. Reverb holds the inside. Unku shoots wide. Heavy under the braking now. Unku slides wide again. And Reverb is sliding on corner exit. Unku a little bit worse on entry. And Reverb a little worse on exit. Here comes Unku to the inside into the first infield hairpin. But Reverb rounds out the hairpin and has a better run out. If you've got moves, you've got to make them now. They've got this lap and next lap, and I think that'll be it pretty much. You'll have a little bit of a third lap afterwards, though. It looks like Mamba's ended up on top in that fight with Ahmed for 4th in GT. So it is just this, the fight between the prototypes to the end. And it is going to be mostly clean track. I think they're not going to have to deal with GT traffic at all to the end of this. Unku looks high. Reverb holds the inside, does not want to let Unku get an easy run on the inside. Here comes Unku to the outside. It's got to be a drag race into the bus stop. Unku has the nose ahead. Who goes deeper into the bus stop? It's Unku. He fires it off into the bus stop. He's through and got it. He's made it sick. It's the second time he's made it work. Reverb has the run coming up into turn one. But is he close enough to have the draft off Unku? Oh boy, both of them slide in turn one this time. And Reverb immediately closes back in, but hits the grass and kills some of his exit momentum. So I take that back. They are going to catch GT traffic here, but I think it will be in a straight line. 3 minutes left. So they'll be able to finish this lap and have the majority of the following lap to finish this up. Reverb goes wide. That might have decided it. That might be it. Reverb botches the hairpin. Unku did not do a good job either, though. Reverb is still there. One more GT car. This will be the last GT car this duo will be impacted by for the rest of the run. Unku desperately is going to want to outrun him before they even get to the braking zone. It's not going to work, and that is the GT leader. Unku held up by the GT leader. And Reverb closes in. Reverb's got to run. He goes to the outside. Side by side as they go through 3. And one last time, the GT traffic works out in Reverb's favor, but I don't think it will be enough. Unku has straight line speed advantage still. Reverb falls back in line behind Unku, gets the draft and now pops to the outside again. Neck and neck at the line. Reverb holds the outside, Unku inside, Reverb slides, Unku slides. And in the end, Unku still holds it. Reverb couldn't make the outside line stick. I think they'll be able to finish this lap actually as well. And they may have another case of traffic, and that would be, I think, Maverick ahead. But now Unku opens up the gap on Reverb just a little bit more once again. They're not going to be impacted by the Newport Ferrari. They'll both be by him by the time they get to the bus stop. Unku trying to use a bit of draft off of Maverick, try and open the gap on Reverb. Less than a minute left. They'll have the bus stop and then they'll run into turn 1. Ooh, Unku a little bit sideways out of the bus stop. Reverb's in the draft again. Is there anything that Reverb can do to Unku? Guess about nose to tail. Reverb has a run. Unku defends inside. Reverb looks outside. This didn't work last time, but Reverb wants to try it again. Final time into turn 1. They both slide. They make contact. Neck and neck coming out of turn 1, and Unku gets Reverb into the dirt. Reverb slides 2-3 times. Camera, thank you. And Reverb into the dirt. The contact knocks Reverb into the dirt, and that's over. As the clock ticks away, 2 seconds, 1, it's over, and your stint winner will be Unku, with Reverb being just behind by only 31 feet at the end. Timmy, in the AZRL, the Apex entry, will finally bring that team a podium. RV and Twitch will be 4th. 5th will be the Porsche of CBL BX Con. AMS Phantom will be a distant 6th, and NWR Jessica will be the last of the prototypes to finish. LMP Flow wins another GT stint to the surprise of no one. EMC Bravo will come home 2nd. 3rd will be Hilfiger in the black and rainbow number 99 BMW. 4th will be I Am Mamba, just a little bit ahead of the Nissan of Ahmed Galal. 6th in GT will be Momonica in the Porsche. 7th will be PTG Ducky, and 8th will be AFZ Maverick. And with that in mind, that wraps up our broadcast. Well, it won't wrap up our broadcast. We'll go to commercial break, and then hopefully when we come back, we'll be able to talk with some of our stint winners or stint top finishers here. All right, welcome back to Daytona as we have wrapped up the final stint here Just Unku and SBR Reverb had a prolonged fight for the majority of the stint. But in the end, traffic decided that it would go in Unku's favor, even though traffic worked in Reverb's favor for the majority of the race. The third to last car they caught had a big swing in Unku's favor, and let Unku outrun Reverb on the run to the bus stop. Reverb continued to dog and pressure Unku through the line. They hip-checked each other coming out of turn 1. On the very last time, Reverb ended up sliding through the dirt, and that gave the stint victory to Unku. And as our drivers are collecting their distances, once we see Unku move on track, we will know that they will be done on stint collection, and we'll try to talk with LMP Flo, who has won the first and last stint, so a bookending result for that entry. And then Just Unku and SBR Reverb will try to reach out and talk to them as well. All right. And that will wrap it up. We're just waiting to see if any of our top finishers are willing to jump in and talk with us post-race or not. I hope so. I'd love to hear from at least one of them. All right, and coming into the party right now, coming into the broadcast booth right now, is SBR Reverb. Reverb, they should have an option to include your audio. Fantastic fight to the end, but you just came up a few feet short. What do you have to say about that fantastic battle you put on for us all stint long?
It was very tiring. Yeah, I didn't expect to fight him for the entire race, but I had a good start. I kept out of the way of all of, I guess, the chaos that was unfolding. Just minimize mistakes and drive defensive when he was on me.
Well, it seemed to work pretty well until some traffic and then a hiccup on the run down to the bus stop work. Man, I've got to be honest, your ability to cut through traffic for the most part seemed to be one of, if not the best that we've seen all day long in the C lobby. That was honestly incredible how smoothly you were able to cut through traffic. There was no doubt in my mind that Unku was faster than you, but when it came to traffic navigation, I think you may have been one of the best we had out there.
Yeah, you just have to predict on what everyone's gonna do, which is really hard to do with not knowing what the driver in front's gonna do. So you kind of just have to pick and choose on when you want to risk and not, and whatnot.
By the way, fantastic drive out there, bringing it home in second. With this, the 24 Hours of Daytona is wrapped up, but where can we see you in the future? In other racing series or other events on Forza?
I should be competing in the next TORA event. That's the only one I'm really doing right now. And this was actually my first TORA event, so I'm kind of pleased with myself right now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Sebring.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you can do at Sebring then also. I believe that's in about 6 weeks' time, so we'll be keeping an eye open on that.
Alrighty.
All right, well, that is the word from our second place finisher, SBR Reverb. Also, big fish out to that Velocity team. They've been very, very helpful in reaching out for interviews all the time. All right, and coming into the party now is Just Unku. Unku, there should be an option in the Xbox party to go ahead and include your audio. Go ahead and do so and tell us about that incredible fight to the finish that you had there. Well, it says Unku's joined. I don't know if he can hear me.
Hold on a second, I can't hear anything. Give me a moment.
All right, well, we hear you, so...
Okay, go ahead and speak for me.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Okay.
All right. In Xbox Party, there should be an option to include your audio.
I've got that, don't worry.
All right, sweet. Well, Unku, you started third, you came home first, but that was not easy. A knuckle-dragging fight all the way to the end, basically the entire stint long, and you ended up on top. What do you have to say about bringing that Swordfish number 24 to another stint victory here?
I honestly didn't think I was going to be doing it, considering Reaver will, I'll just be honest, drove better than me the entirety of that stint. I made a number of very silly mistakes, going into turn 1 especially, where I just didn't brake early enough. The problem mainly with that is due to this setup that I'm running. When I get in the slipstream, I'm doing enough speed to rival the Concorde, so it made braking for turn 1 quite difficult.
Oh yeah, I definitely noticed that. I think there was about 3 or 4 different times I said something about how you just completely were blasting away turn 1's braking zone. I think you probably, I hate to say you probably lost about 300, 400 feet off of that alone.
Oh, easily. More than that. I was taking the same braking point every time, which was the mistake. Obviously, when you're going at a higher speed, that does mean you're braking too late, but it's... because I wasn't used to that, it's something... I spent the majority of the previous stints I'd done in complete no man's land, so I wasn't expecting to have that level of speed going into the first corner, because every other time I was in the slipstream, I'd usually get past on the straight before getting to turn 1, so I wouldn't have that very insane level of overspeed heading into the first corner. But I got that figured out eventually, and then at that point it was just a matter of trying to deal with the traffic, the lap down cars, and trying to avoid crashing into Reaper, which there was a little bit of hip checking at the end, and once again I do apologise for that, I did let up. What I feel is a fair amount, but that's obviously up to opinion. Hello?
Yeah, I'm wondering where you went.
Oh, I muted myself accidentally. I'm sorry about that.
There we go, okay.
That was a miscue on my part.
I was about to say, have we missed we lost the broadcaster?
No, I'm still here. I accidentally hit the mute button on my control. But no, in my opinion at least, I'm not a TORA official. I'm just someone who's here to broadcast and have fun. But in my personal opinion, as someone who has hosted other racing series, that seemed like a perfect amount of contact. It's going to happen. Tracks narrow, especially in a lot of areas where the lines crisscross back over each other in some of the exits of the hairpins. And a lot of this track is hairpin or hairpin-like corners. You're never going to get out of here clean. There was obviously nothing intentional or malicious done, and considering how bloody fast you are and how bloody overpowered the draft is, I feel like you guys did about as good as can be expected, all things considered.
Yeah.
All right, well,
really...
Unku, I will...
No,
go ahead.
Sorry, guys. No. I should have drove better throughout all my stints. I definitely wasn't on top of my game, but I'm glad at least coming to the end of the race, I was able to figure something out with this car and get going. But that's all I'm going to say. Over to you now.
Well, one last question for you, Unku. Now that the TORA 24 Hours of Daytona is over this year, what are the next things we can expect you to be racing in?
I'm definitely going to be back for Sebring, that much is for certain. I don't quite know with what car. It'll very likely be a Swordfish car, which entry I'm not certain of right now, though. Depends who's available on the day.
Alright, any other racing series or events that you're looking at taking part in between now and Sebring? Because that's about a 6 weeks gap in between.
There is the M2 Cup, which is currently ongoing with TORA. I'll be doing that, as well as there's the number of Saturday series coming up, such as, I believe GTCC and NASCAR are the ones that are publicly announced. So you
All
can
right.
expect me to be competing in them and trying to do my best.
All right, well, you'll definitely be a busy bee. Well, I'm not going to be broadcasting any of those. I will say thanks for keeping it up, informing us that way. Other people who are interested in what you did were able to see that. We'll be able to see what you can do over the next few weeks. But anyways, with that in mind, that will pretty much wrap up our broadcast here at Daytona. A very, very fascinating final stint to wrap up the 24-hour event. I'm not in a position to really know who's going to be overall top or bottom in the end in the categories. You'll have to check their Discord server or their social media later. But until next time, I've been your host, Insane Leader 13. Thank you very much for joining us today. Farewell and goodbye.